Welcome UniData customer. This YouTube video is explained about how U2 JDBC client work with the UniData server. In this YouTube video, you can download a lot of sample code to work with the UniData server. So in this video, we were talking about a couple topics. First one is talking about UniData database schema. UniData server is a little bit different other server. Basically, schema is the ownership name. It's created by UniData Visual Schema Generation Tool we call VSG, or you can use the schema basic API subroutine to generate the schema. Couple a different schema like a table, subtable, and view. How you get the U2 JDBC client driver? You basically go to the U2 client. You can download it. You have a couple files, but JDBC client basically just need the sjob.zip file or UniJDBC.jar file. Sometimes you only allow the jar file, so you can rename sjob.zip file become sjava.jar file. And we already have a request to combine two driver become single Java. It should be available on the next client. So also you can using the class path variable a Unix window to define where you find the jar file or zip file in the class path, or if you without any class path environment variable setting, then you can use in the Java space -cp option parameter to specify where is our U2 JDBC client. For the JDBC connection part, we have two types. We have most common one using the driver manager, using URL to specify the connection string, and it basically is JDBC 1.0 spec, or you can use the data source object that will be JDBC 2.0. And inside this YouTube video, also talking about connection and query the data, update the data, and also how you get the metadata and schema information, or call the subroutine, or call the stop procedure. When you have a problem, you might want to try to turn on the JDBC client login, and also looking for UniData UCI server log. So next topic, just the VSG. So VSG, basically you need to define the UCI data source. Then you can run the visual schema generator tool to create a table, subtable, and view. I do have a couple of YouTube video to explain the different schema and how you create it. You might be subscribe our channel to looking for my other YouTube video. Also, you can use the schema API to create the subtable, view, and table. So for the driver, pretty simple. Just download it, a JDBC client, and you will put in the one particular folder. So basically, after you install the client, by default, if you default install it, you will see the folder just like this, a couple files. By JDBC only, you need to sjar.zip file and UniJDBC client. So you can same thing to define class path, or by using the -cp option. Here just give you example. Everything put in the current directory. You can set a dot semicolon for Unix and the dot for select sjar.zip file, or you can specify full path to depend on where your driver located. You can, based on the class path, you will find the U2 JDBC driver. So next, just give you example. pretty simple. The next most common use way using the URL connection. So you need to define two things. We call class for name. Let's just specify U2 JDBC a class, and another just give you the URL setting. Then you just create a connection. So after you connect it, you can do whatever the query, update, insert, delete. Another way you can turn on the using the data source object. So you will create a data source object, and then you add a property, and you can get the property object. Then from data source object, you can create a connection. So the functionality, we have a database metadata object. So we put the JDBC driver version information inside the database metadata object. So you can, I have an example to show you, pretty simple to get a database version or get the driver version. On UniData metadata information, most common, you will try to get a schema or using a table or using the column to get the information. I will show you on my demo. So for the JDBC function, most likely you will using query. Query actually provides three different ways. You can create a statement and just put a SQL statement to get the data, get the result set back. And might be using another way. You can bind in the parameter and using the SQ query or using prepare statement. They have three different ways. I just created one simple Java JDBC program to demo the function I call the JDBC query UD.java file. So you can look at the syntax, how it works, pretty straightforward. And also you can try to insert, update, delete. I have another sample program called JDBC Update XUD. Basically just insert query, update, and delete it. So another, it's try to demo how can you use in the JDBC client to call the UniData subroutine. I just create one simple subroutine called getStudent subroutine. So this subroutine, basically, I try to demo two things. One is you can get the, you just provide the ID. For here, I just provide the student ID. Then you can read the file, open the student file, and get the dynamic objects and to get the couple field like ID, last name, and first name. Another example is try to show you actually you can get the output. It's a JSON format, and this one only support on UniData 8.2.2 or later. It's not support on the 8.2.1. So when you have problem, you might can turn on the JDBC client lock, and for the JDBC client lock, let depend your connection. So if you're using URL, basically very simple. Just add the two parameter. One is called JDBC trace label equal 5. That's the maximum number. And next parameter is called trace file. For here, just put it on the current location, and also you can put the fully path, put the temp folder or somewhere to generate the log file. On the server side, for UniData, we call the UCI server logging. Is defined on the UD underscore database. Is configuration file in the include folder, and actually it's the last one. The maxima is trace underscore level equals 3. The output will based on the connection, and the server, each connection will generate its server log. It will in the temp folder. On Windows side, by default, it might be in the CU2, UniData A2 or 7.3, and called UDD temp folder. On Unix, maybe put on the TMP folder by default. I have a couple other YouTube video, maybe talking about UniData Schema 6.0 and also related permission setting. You might be want to use in a connection pooling, how you use the JDBC client work with the connection pooling, or you might want to know how to work with the SSL with the JDBC client. You might subscribe my YouTube channel to looking other YouTube video. So next, I will demo the function one by one. So here it's just a very simple. I put every sample program in the one folder. The first one, I already set up the class path. So if you're looking for my environment, so I have so many class path settings, including JDBC client. So I don't need to specify where to find the U2 JDBC client. So everything just type in. So first one is very simple. Just using the JDBC connection. So for the JDBC connection, it basically just Java JDBC connect. So JDBC connect Java JDBC CONNECT connect. Try it again to find. I have so many programs in this folder. So one is called JDBC Connect. Java JDBC CON. Okay, so by default will be UniData. So basically, I just one for UniData. So next will be location this machine, and put the username and password. So connect to demo account. So basically, it just connect to demo account and also show you the that's the UniData 8.2. Actually, it's 8.2.1, and a driver version will be 2.161. Then I can try to read the data is from state file. So basically, get the couple of sample data back. So let's just call JDBC Connect. You can connect to Windows, Unix, any information. Next, a little bit different. I just show you the sample code for the JDBC. If you using the data source object, so I can show you very quick for JDBC DX log. So they just very simple. Basically, using create a unique JDBC data source object. Then you set up a couple different property. For this one, also you can turn on the logging, create a trace label equal file, and where's the trace file, and all the server, account name, username, password. Then you just make a connection. So next, I can show you this JDBCX. Log. So it basically just create a connection. So next one, I will try to show you called JDBC version. This one actually is straightforward. If you look at the sample code, if you get the JDBC version, so inside this one, you need to create a connection first. Then you want to get the metadata. So after you get the metadata, then you can get all the details for your driver version or JDBC driver version. So I'll show you here. It's the JDBC version UD. So you same thing, and because you need to get the server, so you need to get the connection first to get the. So you will return. Actually, first part is come from UniData server, so you will get the UniData A2, and also get the JDBC client version information. The next will show you is talking about the metadata. So metadata, we just talking about a couple things. One is called a get schema. Get schema have a couple different ways. I will show you a couple different ways for a schema information. Yeah, basically, you can connect to show you the sample code. So that's the sample code. The sample code basically you need to make a connection first. Then you can using the database metadata object. Then you just get a schema. So inside here, I already using the schema using the VSG to create the schema. Actually, it's the ownership. So if you look at the demo, you will see JDBC get schema UD. So you will see in this schema, if you run VSG, it will show you it actually is owned by two owners. Ownership is ptrain and root users. So you will get the schema. All the table columns all belong either a ptrain or belong to root user. Another actually behind the thing, you can use another way to get the schema information. If you look at the SQL syntax, basically is on server. It just get the table ownership from SQL table. It just lets the we call the UniData schema information. So another you will get the same thing for JDBC get a schema RS. So you will see you will get the same schema information back. The next one, if you want to get the particular the table list from particular schema, so I will show you. That's the next the demo. You will be get the schema columns. So inside this example, basically you get from using the get column, but I like to use in that's the column UD. Actually, it's another one. So get schema table UD. That's the get schema table. So this is all based on the root. It's using the database metadata and get table function. You need to specify the schema first. So I based on the root. So I need to run the schema. CHEMA. So I set up the table is owned by root. So I will get all the table belong to root. So you will see the couple one is all belong by root user. So next one is talking about column. Then you need to specify more. If you want to just get the table column using it's called student NF sub. This the table the column. Then I can using this function to get the actually it's the table, not table, it's column. So you will see this is belong to student and F subtable to get the order of the current information. So next I will show you its query. Query I mentioned before for UniData. We support a couple different ways to query. So here, you same thing. First one, you make a connection, then you can get the whatever the query statement. And you can create a statement, and you can use in called SQL query. That's the most common way to get the result set. So using SQL query, that's one way. Another things you might be want to use in prepare statement, and you then use this same thing. You run the SQL query, then you can get the same result back. Another way you can use in a same statement and binding a prepare statement, then you can use in the SQL function to return the result back. So for this demo, I show you is something called JDBC query UD. So basically, I specify particular ID, so you can get the first name and last name. So it just shows you 3 different ways to get the result set back. The next one is using update called JDBC update. So this one is JDBC update. So this the JDBC update I already using particular table. You can insert and update and delete. So this one I just try to insert particular record, insert to student NF sub. So inside here, just for single value. If you want to update the insert to mother value or mother sub value, then you need to multiple record. For student file, they include maybe semester, you maybe course grade or course number. There will be sub value. There will be a multiple insert statement. So for here, so you will see I insert it. So using the insert statement, finding all the parameter. Then I use the query. Then I can update particular first name and last name. Then I delete it. So for this demo, I will show you it's just for JDBC update XUD. So basically, it's just a complete new record is 999, and that's the data. Then I can update it, the syntax, and I became first name, last name. I change it, first name, last name, then I delete it. So last demo we try to show you is using called a subroutine. So for the subroutine, you need to create the basic subroutine on the server side. You need to catalog. So in this subroutine, basically 2 parts. First part is just simple. You provide an ID to read the record set. Then you just specify the ID, specify the student ID to get a first name and last name. You can combine a couple of different fields to get the result. And put on the for my example, I put on the student info. The another is just using this command to generate two JSON to JSON data format. For this one, the second part is only work with UniData 8.2.2 or higher. So I will show you how to work JDBC Subroutine. JDBC Subroutine. So I connect to UniData, and this time I want to connect to a particular server with have UniData 822. So first one, pretty simple. I just go student info. Basically, I just want to get the, based on this ID, I get a first name, a last name, and first name. And the second one, second part is in the get student subroutine, and the subparameter return is the JSON data. After I got the JSON data, I can use the JSON function to retrieve from JSON data to get the like an ID, a last name, first name, and other function. So just to give you the example, you can download from U2 description field, and they have a link, and also can give you an idea how you work with UniData. So hopefully you can learn this JDBC client work with the UniData server very easy, and can also you might want to know other topic looking for my other YouTube video. Thank you for your watching.